Let's bring in our next guest, Aubrey Bettencourt from the California Water Alliance. Hello, Aubrey. How are you? Nice to see you. Tell people exactly what the California Water Alliance does.
Sure. So the California Water Alliance is an advocacy and education organization based in the central San Joaquin Valley, but we are statewide in membership. And our job is to make sure that water stays preeminent in the public and political consciousness in California, that all of our life in California, whether you're working in farming or you're working in industry or you're in the restaurant sector or you're the mother of 3.5 kids in, El Segundo, it all comes down to water when it comes to the California lifestyle and the future and success of California going forward.
Water's in the news every single day. I had Buddy Mendez on the other day. All he wanted to talk about was water because that's all they're talking about in his area. With the drought the way it is, are you guys getting a little bit more press out there? You get a little people wanting to talk to you a little bit more?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, the Water Alliance does just as much work in California as we do out of California. And a large part of what we've been doing lately has been hand-holding the media who's just now catching up to this issue in California. We're in the 4th year of a drought, right? But the California water crisis has been going on for, some say, 20 years.
Right.
Even some people will tell you it's been going on for 100 years. So now that we've got all these new people who know just enough that they should be covering it, but not enough to understand the complexities of it, we at the Water Alliance spend a lot of our time in the Bay Area and on the coast and in LA and in Sacramento hand-holding people and members of the media when they come into California to cover this story to help them understand it in a bigger context, in hopes of putting out a fair representation of what's going on really with the drought and with the California water crisis.
Because the news outlets are like, if it's not blood and gore, we don't get the ratings. So, but now that it's getting very drastic, well, let's jump on and let's tell people exactly how drastic it is, right?
Yeah, and now it's funny if you watch the media, it's scrambling to find the most drastic of the drastic stories. And the trouble with a drought is it's the most expensive natural disaster that a country can experience, but it happens over such a long period of time.
Tell me about that. Why is it the most expensive?
It'll have the most long-lasting and harder to recover from disaster effects. So when land goes out of production, it takes years for it to come back. When cities are running out of water, it costs more money to redig wells and replumb a city than it ever would to rebuild, houses or anything like that. And I have to be careful. I don't want to diminish natural disasters like Katrina or tornadoes in the Midwest or anything along those lines. But because those are events that are coming, happen and done, and you can instantly begin to rebuild. A drought, on the other hand, can last anywhere from 1 year to 5 years to, in Australia's case, 10 years.
No kidding.
And the level of investment that it takes to cope with getting through that, the amount of recovery, or the amount of relief it takes to get through that costs a lot. And then the recovery effect from that, too, also costs a lot as well.
How much rain would we have to get out of a drought?
So they're talking about the Godzilla El Nino, right?
Come on.
Oh yeah, come on, Godzilla El Nino. So let me just debunk something really quick. El Nino means nothing more than a hot Pacific Ocean. It doesn't actually mean rain, and it doesn't actually mean snow, which is more important in California.
Right.
So while we all are praying for an El Nino and the Godzilla of El Ninos to hit us, what we really need to be praying for is it's a Godzilla El Nino that rains. And what we're now hearing from the State Water Resources Control Board and in our own assessment internal at the Water Alliance is we believe it would take probably about 3 years of El Nino to get us back to normal, get our reservoirs back to a normal level.
What would be a normal El Nino in inches?
That's,
12,
I don't
14,
know. It's hard to say.
I heard someone say it'd take us 40 plus inches of water in 1 year to just get back to almost normal.
Yep, absolutely. That's a believable figure.
Jeez. And then I saw in Florida, that's about what they had this year.
They get,
and it was just ridiculous.
So fun fact, if you go to Wikipedia, or you guys can all fact check me too, but I don't think California actually calculates average rainfall because of how diverse our state is. Here in the central San Joaquin Valley, we, on average, in a normal year, we're supposed to get 8 to 10 inches. You go up to Humboldt County, and it's like 20-some, 36 inches. So there's no point in calculating an average rainfall, which also comes down to when it does rain, where is that rain going to occur? We will have more water.
Where's it going to go?
Where's it going to go? So at the end of this year, we will have more water in Shasta Reservoir than we did at the end of last year. Why is that? Why is this a worse year of drought compared to last year, but there's more water in the bank? Part of that is because of the politics of the situation and the way that the government's choosing to manage through the drought. The other reason for that is when it did rain this year, it rained in that location.
Right.
Right?
And they contained it.
Exactly. And that's also why in Southern California last year, they didn't feel the drought quite to the same effect we did, because when we got rain last year, while the rest of the state was dry, Southern California got hit with some nice little storm activity too.
And they got a pretty good little water deal going, don't they?
They have a pretty good little water deal, but they're out.
Yeah.
They have a 3-year backup supply, and they're done. They're cooked.
All right. I gotta ask you, do you get bent when you see a big green lawn?
No, I get bent when the sprinkler's broken and watering the cement. That's more
Right.
when I get bent out
Right.
of shape is
You
when I
still
see
see
that.
it,
I don't
yeah.
think we can, I think the lawn of the future, if you will, in California isn't that you shouldn't have a lawn. It's that you should make sure it's the right lawn for your climate and that you're watering it as efficiently as possible. I don't think that we're going to a world without yards. We're going to a world of smarter yards.
I like that. Aubrey, do you guys have a website?
CaliforniaWaterAlliance.org. All spelled out. It's really long, but it's easy to remember.
It's always good to see
Nice
you.
to
Thanks
see
for
you, Chuck.
coming by.
You bet.